KayFabe Smark Podcast. Welcome to the KayFabe Smark Podcast with Eric Todd and Brian Rampa, your Smart Mark source for news and opinions on the world of professional wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is January 14th. We are here live on YouTube. We're coming at you with the podcast recorded on January 15th. Make sure you guys head on over to all of our social media outlets. Facebook, that's the KayFabe Smark on Facebook, the KayFabe Smark on Instagram, the KayFabe Smark on TikTok, and make sure you head on over to audibletrial.com/thekayfabesmark, where you can get a free audiobook, 30-day free trial, get all of that stuff for us. Hit the social media. Oh, and don't forget to get on YouTube. If you're not on there already, subscribe, like, join the comments, and we are going to kick it over to Eric and see what is happening in his world. What's happening?
Well, shit, we got that KayFabe Smart ground covered, don't we, Brian? We got that across the platforms.
Across the platforms.
Yeah, we're doing good on that. I am just chilling, sir. I just got done eating a late dinner, had me a Jimmy John's Unwich, got my Starbucks for dessert, and I'm ready to talk some wrestling.
Talk some wrestling. All right, well, your week is going better than mine. I have been under a quarantine. I am not sick, but I have been under a quarantine. I was exposed, so I'm keeping my family and friends safe and distancing from everybody and living in my basement. So that has been my life for the last week.
Hey, isn't that the perfect life, though, for a wrestling podcaster?
Yeah.
Just living in the basement.
Yeah, I talk about wrestling in my basement. I'm living in my basement, but it's my basement. It's not my mom's basement.
Hey, but you're surrounded by wrestling action figures.
I am.
What more do you need?
Nothing. They did a test. I've done 3 tests so far. I did one at CVS where they make you do it yourself. I clearly did not go deep enough. It came back negative, but I had a lady at the emergency clinic do it today, and she shoved that Q-tip into my brain, not once, but twice, because I had to get a rapid test, and I wanted the 3-day lab test. I want to make sure I'm good and clean. The quick test came back negative again, so I'm still good there. We'll wait for this other one in about 2 days. I can get the all clear, and I can come out of my basement and not have to wear a mask in my own house because I want to keep my wife and kids healthy. So anyways, that's been my week, but I had plenty of time to watch some wrestling. And, yeah, all right. What do we got in the news? What do you got? You got news for us? You got something? You usually lead us off with some news.
Well, in COVID news, our boy Drew McIntyre contracted COVID, and WWE still planning on him coming to Royal Rumble and fighting Goldberg. But, man, you and I were kind of chit-chatting over the week, and if Drew McIntyre was out, that left our main event with Roman Reigns and
that GM guy that got running SmackDown. I forget his name.
That one guy from The Office who, now granted, he is a wrestler. He was in NWA. He held the NWA championship for like 1,000 days or some shit. But, yeah, if that was going to be our main event for Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns versus an Office guy, might have had to tap out on that one.
Yeah, that was funny. Let me go back to our text message here. I had sent you that, and dang it, I can't find it. I'm not fast enough. Anyways, it was funny. I just go, who the hell is that guy?
Fuck if I know.
So this is not my take. This is a good take. I saw this on, I believe, TikTok as I was scrolling through there one day. This gentleman, I forget his name, but nonetheless, not my take. His thought would be if Drew McIntyre cannot make it to Royal Rumble to face Goldberg, that they would strip the title from Drew McIntyre, and then the winner of the Royal Rumble would then go to face Goldberg for the vacant title at WrestleMania. Pretty good take. Not a bad way to go.
Well, you can't just strip the title from a guy for having COVID.
If it's going to be too long and interfere, with how they can get the story going.
Right. Well, I wouldn't go for that because I'm already going to be mad if they hand it over to Goldberg, even as a transition title. I mean, it's probably going to happen. but I'll be salty as fuck.
Yeah, the Goldberg thing drives me nuts. Just like I know he has his contract for X amount of matches a year, but god dang, man, at least make him get a couple to earn a match or win some type of, battle royal or tournament or something. I don't know. Anyways, we could talk about that for about a year and a half about how that sucks. The big weenie. Now
But
you had
nonetheless, I'm sure once is Royal Rumble a week from Sunday? Man, I am just all over the place, aren't I?
we are looking at the third. I think it's the 31st, the last Sunday in January. So we got 2 more weeks.
Yep.
This week's the 17th.
And that'll be the weekend after my birthday. So
there we go. That is that. You also had sent me over a text message about a shitty Sports Illustrated rankings list.
Yes. So I was doing research, listening to other podcasts, and came across Jim Cornette and Brian Last, and they mentioned that Sports Illustrated had put out a top 10 singles wrestlers of 2020 article. Now, this isn't plagiarizing or anything because it's a Sports Illustrated article, and 2021 just began. So this I think, would be a hot topic. But nonetheless, this isn't Sports Illustrated, the magazine that you and I have been reading for 30 some odd years, or at least the swimsuit issue when we were kids.
Never.
Sports Illustrated is just a stupid website who just has a bunch of stupid writers who don't have to have anything approved. And it's just individual opinions almost at this point, where I feel the magazine was researched and passed through higher ups and everything before it hit the newsstands. So the reason I say that is, man, this top 10 list that this guy put out, I think was just atrocious. So I sent that over to you. I sent you the link to the article, told you to come up with your top 10. I came up with my top 10. We have not told each other our top 10s, and we're going to see how this works out, how the three of us, you, Brian, me, and Sports Illustrated, how our lists collide and compare.
Sure. Well, I'll kick it off with my honorable mentions. First off, in my honorable mention, I have Britt Baker is an honorable mention. Now, I'll defend my Britt Baker comment because Britt had a good 2020 for the fact that, she got her nose busted on TV and she busted her knee. Britt built a great character for 2020. Britt has not built a great wrestling career for 2020. So she's on the verge of having a good year if she can roll it over and go in. So if she could have had both ends of that, she would have made the list. But she didn't quite have the whole list, or both parts of it to make the top 10 list for me. And then the second is Nick Aldis. But Nick Aldis is having a good 2020, or an honorable mention because he was having a good 2020. NWA was, I don't want to say, zooming to the top of the charts, but it was a good, quote, alternative again. There was a third thing to watch. I liked their YouTube show. I enjoyed it. But then COVID killed them, and they did not keep it rolling. So, unfortunately, Nick kind of disappeared. But he was on the verge of having a great 2020. And then Brody Lee. Brody came in like a ball of fire. He didn't get to finish out 2020 like he started. And unfortunately, it ended, but nonetheless, I put him on there for an honorable mention that if he could have done everything that he was set to do, it would have been a great 2020 for him.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you on that. Brody Lee is also on my honorable mentions. He stepped out of a role in WWE where he wasn't being utilized correctly or utilized at all, for that matter. And he stepped into a very important lead role over in AEW and leading the faction that Tony Khan seems to put the most heart behind, and that being the Dark Order. So yeah, Brody Lee stepped into a very important role. He moved up the ranks pretty quickly as a powerhouse, and that's why he made my honorable mentions. Unfortunately, he was off TV after that dog collar match, and we hadn't seen him since, and then passed away. So Brody Lee is number one on my honorable mentions, followed by Adam Page. Um, I just feel they could have did so much more with Adam Page, and just where he ended up just didn't seem to crack the top 10 for great 2020 careers for me. And then my third choice on honorable mentions would be Jungle Boy. Again, somebody who improved 1,000%, had a fantastic 2020, but just still not enough to crack that top 10.
All right. Well, let's do it this way now as we move through the top 10. Let's ping-pong it back and forth. So we'll go back and forth. We'll go 10-10. We'll work our way up together here so we don't just kind of bore it out here. So my number 10, coming in at number 10 for Brian's list, is Drew McIntyre. I put as number 10.
Wow.
Didn't see Drew coming down at the bottom, or did you not see him on my list at all?
I didn't see him being so low on your list.
Here's the deal with Drew. They slapped a rocket ship to his back and sent him to the moon, right? They said, here you are,
Right.
kid. You're the guy. He handled it well. For me, I just don't care about his fights, though. His matches don't draw me in yet. He isn't the coolest guy in the room, right? He's not that CM Punk for me. Punk was a draw because I just would be like, I want to be that dude's friend. That's why I like CM Punk on that aspect of it. Drew doesn't draw me in that way. He doesn't have much of any kind of attitude, whether he's a face or heel. It's just he's just kind of exists, but he's handling all this very well. And his matches aren't incredibly boring, but they're just not drawing me in on the entertainment of sports entertainment.
Very understandable. That's a good explanation of that. Now, Sports Illustrated, their writer had their number 10 with Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston didn't make it to any of my lists. He's a hell of a talker, but yeah, I don't know. And then on mine, me personally, Eric's top 10 list, I had Keith Lee, where Keith Lee had a fantastic 2020 in NXT, being the North American champion, the NXT champion, and he probably would have been higher on the list if he kept riding that wave, but they bumped him up to WWE, the main roster, put him in a tennis skirt, and yeah, he just kind of fell off from there. So number 10 on my list, Keith Lee.
My number 9, I have Finn Balor for his rebranding of coming down to NXT. So some people might take away points from him from coming down to NXT, but the NXT for me wasn't necessarily a downgrade. It was a rebuild, and he's rebuilt the character of the Prince, Finn Balor, and it's not all relying on the makeup and the Demon. I still enjoy and would like to see the Demon come out and do that. But, you know, I really enjoy this Finn Balor as a person that we're getting now. The Prince, he's running with his gimmick, and I like it. I like where he's going with it. He got pushed up NXT, and he's now, you know, running with the strap. So that's where I put him at my number 9.
All right. And Sports Illustrated, they've got their number 9 as Roman Reigns, which is understandable to be on the list. And spoiler alert, they're pretty close to me on that one. My number 9 was Kenny Omega, where Kenny Omega had a fantastic last month or two, but up until that point throughout 2020, he was just a whiny little bitch who he still can't hit the ropes. I don't care how many times he's champion. I don't care if he's on Impact, if he's walking around with Don Callis. His happy feet and his lack of pure wrestling skill just kind of throws me off. But all in all, he had a good year. He really came from behind at the end. So Kenny Omega is my number 9.
Wow. Kenny Omega made Eric's list. Hot damn, anything can happen, people.
Hey, I kind of like heel Omega.
Well, I'm with you there. My where are we at? Number 8.
Number 8.
My number 8 going up my list here. Jay White from New Japan Wrestling. I know Jay White. I like it. I like what he's doing over there for New Japan. I can't get too defensive on it because Eric wouldn't know if I was just making up shit or not. I'm like, the guy can fly. He just flaps as he flies around the arena, and then he shoots people. It's with lasers out of his eyes. It's great. But anyways, I picked Jay White, and I think Eric needs to go watch a bunch of Jay White matches now.
Yeah, I obtained access to some New Japan, and I'm going to crack into that here pretty soon. But I have no idea what Brian's talking about right now. So, Sports Illustrated, their number 8, which Brian can probably touch on this one, would be Kota Ibushi. Again, I have nothing to say. What's your opinion on him being Sports Illustrated's number 8, Brian?
Yeah, he's the guy right now. I mean, I don't want to give you any spoiler alerts if you're going to go watch Wrestle Kingdom, but, he's a motherfucker right now.
All right. So Ibushi, Sports Illustrated is number 8.
You saw him wrestle at All In. He was at All In. He wrestled with the Young Bucks. He was their third. There's in their 6-man match they did. Anywho, we'll continue.
Yeah. My number 8 would be Roman Reigns. Again, pretty close to the Sports Illustrated thing. He once COVID hit, he kind of disappeared for a really long time. So he didn't have much of a 2020, but when he came back and he hooked up with Paul Heyman and turned a heel, he's another one that Kenny Omega that just kind of blasted through the atmosphere. So again, if he had more time, he would have been higher on the list, but had a fantastic end to 2020. Roman Reigns, number 8.
There you go. Number 7 for me, Rhea Ripley.
Ooh.
Put Rhea Ripley on there. She had a good year. Some pretty high-profile matches, and really just built the character. And not your traditional women's wrestlers. She didn't come out as like the super hot. I mean, not saying that she's not hot, but that traditional hot. And I don't want to get anybody offended here. She didn't come out as that blonde-haired, blue-eyed, this, that, Trish Stratus-looking type girl. She came out as Rhea Ripley and does her thing is who she is, and I dig it. So that's mine.
Yeah. I absolutely love Rhea Ripley, and she is my favorite women's wrestler out of every promotion, but she didn't make my top 10 at all just because after her match with Charlotte at WrestleMania, it was just kind of radio silence, and they had her putting other girls over constantly. So I just couldn't bring myself to put her on the list. But number 7 over on Sports Illustrated, they're riding with you on this one, and not quite Rhea Ripley, but they're giving up Io Shirai, the NXT Women's Champion.
All right, cool.
She didn't make my list.
Nope.
But Eric's number 7, Sasha Banks, where Sasha Banks had a hell of a year.
There ain't no question.
Just like one of your previous picks here, she had a great year, but nothing about her really draws me in. I don't really care when she's on TV. I respect everything she's accomplished this year, but yeah, that puts her at number 7.
All right, well, there you go. My number 6, Keith Lee. I put Keith up a little higher.
A little higher than I had him. I had him at number 10.
Now, I put him up more that middle of the road because his career went like he took it off. I don't think there was much he got the people behind him on his own, in my opinion, and he took it off through NXT. He built, just people, Keith Lee, whoop whoop, the whole nine. He was running with it. He was Keith Lee. His promos were on point. He was going, and then that main roster curse. That NXT main roster cursed, and boop, and that's where he flatlined for me. So I'm leaving him at number 5 because the potential is still there for Keith Lee for me. It's just I don't think he could have finished it off at so much higher if it would have they would have left that rocket strapped right to his back.
Yep, definitely the main roster curse, and yeah. I remember seeing Keith Lee. I think the first time I really noticed him was maybe Royal Rumble 2020, and I'm like, whoa. Who is this big bastard? And yeah, he had a great year, no doubt. Number 5 over on Sports Illustrated's list is did we skip number 6?
No.
Wait, you had Keith Lee at number 6, right?
Yeah, I get. I don't know what
Okay.
number we're on. I'm just going up the list.
All right. Well, Sports Illustrated had Bailey at number 6, and I also had Bailey at number 6. I her heel turn and how much emotion and character she brought out this year really brought out the real Bailey. And I know it upset your kids when she turned heel, but that Bailey belongs as a heel, as a babyface. I really couldn't give two shits about her, but she's accomplished a lot this year. So SI and myself, Bailey, number 6.
All right. My number 5, Randall Keith Orton. Randy just had a heck of a year, like reclaiming himself as a player in the game still of wrestling. He came out and he was in matches where he needed to be in. He lost matches that were good for him to lose, if that makes sense, and he won matches that made sense. His career was just on point from going, I mean, he's been at the top, he's been at the bottom, he's been gone, he's been back, and he's on fire again. And, man, he can talk, and he makes you want to watch him fight. That's what gives me a good year. And, you're starting, well, at least there's a Randy Orton match at the end of this pay-per-view.
Right. Randy Orton is on my list, so I will definitely give my opinion when we get to him. But moving over to SI, their number 5 was Kenny Omega, and they had him a little higher on the list than on mine, and probably a little lower on the list than yours. But well, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But Kenny Omega, number 5 on SI. My number 5 was MJF. I was really excited about MJF, and he was the best promo in the game for a hot minute, the beginning, the middle of 2020. He probably would have been number 2 on the list if this list had been taking place a few months back. But once he started goofing around and hanging out with Jericho and doing song and dance numbers and just ripping off presidential parody podium speeches and everything for his promos, he slinked back down the list, and he's hovering right in the middle of the pack right now, number 5 for me.
Interesting. All right, my number 4, Adam Page. I put Adam up higher than I think anybody has so far, but I put Adam up higher because, see, Adam went from like a school teacher to Adam Page. He was an independent wrestler that was a school teacher on the weekdays and fought, at night and on the weekends. And he went and made him a name. He went and built himself up and made a name for himself, and and people are talking about him on the regular basis now. I don't blame anything, and this was just obviously it's all personal opinion, but I think that he's got it, and he's going to keep showing it, and as soon as he's allowed to let it all loose, everybody's going to be talking about Adam Page.
Right. Adam Page was on my honorable mentions, and I think when we do this same list next year, he'll be on the actual list and probably pretty high on it. But moving over to Sports Illustrated, their number 4 was, please excuse me if I butcher this, Tetsudo Naito. I'm assuming another New Japan guy.
Yeah.
And I'll let you take the reins on that one.
He's a good guy. You got to go watch him. Just go watch him. It's good stuff. He's a great wrestler.
All right. And then moving over to my number 4, I've got Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes kind of cementing and debuting that TNT title and making it mean something. Cody Rhodes, every important match he was in, making his opponents look great, bringing down the amount of gymnastics in matches and getting a more traditional style. I just think Cody Rhodes, as a leader of AEW, had a fantastic year. So Cody was my number 4.
All right. Number 4. My number 3, Jonathan Moxley.
Ding, ding, ding. We matched on that one, Brian.
We have a match. John Moxley, I put him at number 3. He had a hell of a year. He ran around with that belt. He defended it to anybody that they threw in front of him. The people that they threw in front of him didn't always make sense to me, but I can't blame that on the champion in professional wrestling, as he's usually not the one back there making up the stories. So he goes out and does his job. So that is why I put him at number 3. He did a great job. Just not everything always made sense, but he made that AEW championship, he put it out there on the line and really just made it his own and put a new spin on it. So I'm happy with that, and that's where I put him.
All right, Sports Illustrated there. Number 3 was Drew McIntyre. For obvious reasons, don't really have to discuss that. We already spoke about Drew. My number 3 was Jon Moxley. You and I matched on that one. I just think he had a great year. Could have had a better year if 99% of his matches weren't garbage matches with trash cans and baseball bats and
literal garbage.
But his promos are on point. His matches are exciting, and I thought he performed extremely well as the AEW champion. So my number 3 is Jon Moxley.
My number 2, Adam Cole, baby. That's where I put Adam Cole. He made that NXT
That's an
strap.
Interesting pick, just because I didn't see him on any other lists. So yeah, please convince me.
I just love he made that. Name another NXT champion, Eric.
Finn Balor. I know what you're saying, though. When I think NXT champion, I think Adam Cole, baby.
And what he did with the Pat McAfee stuff, I mean, he took a public forum. He went outside of it, and he kept the story alive. He kept the gimmick alive, the character. He went and did something on the Pat McAfee show. It made news. Is this real? Is it shoot? Is it fake? What's happening? He had a pretty damn good year, some pretty high-profile matches. I'd say it would have been, oh no, that would have been 2019. Well, 2019, he was the guy too, damn it. So he came in and saved SmackDown and Raw when the people got stuck in Dubai or wherever it was, and he came over in NXT and stole the show for SmackDown. But that was in 2019. Nonetheless, Adam Cole, and I picked it, damn it. Don't worry about why I picked it. No.
No, it's just as I was researching, I'm a list guy, so I always put a lot of work into my list, and I looked at tons of other people's top 10s, and I didn't see Adam Cole on any of them. I like the guy, but to me, just kind of with his injury, he was gone for a while, and then just kind of got lost in the sauce. So that's why Adam Cole didn't make my list. But number 2 over in Sports Illustrated was Jon Moxley. We just spoke of him at length, and Sports Illustrated put him a little higher than we had him, but still deserves to be high on the list. My number 2, Randy Orton, for the same reasons you spoke of before, Brian. You look at any card, and if there's a Randy Orton match on there, there's something to look forward to. Even his best match ever wrestled or whatever the gimmick was on that one, that with Edge.
Yeah.
Besides the gimmicky fake fight shit that was added post-production, again, that match was fantastic.
Some of those things I couldn't hold against people because they aren't always their decisions. So, what they can do and what they do with what they're handed is what, the magic they make for me. So, even handed, when you're handed shit and you turn me back gold, it's like, hey, God bless, you polished that turd up nicely.
Yeah. So Randy Orton is, again, just like you said, his resurgence in 2020 and solidifying who he is. And in my opinion, he is the very last WWE superstar as of right now. The guy who's known across all platforms. Even if someone's never watched a day of WWE in their life, they could probably tell you who Randy Orton is, or at least what an RKO is from watching TikTok.
And he's an internet troll. You gotta love that.
Oh, of course.
I mean, he's taking pictures saying that he's going to go to AEW on Twitter, and says that he bought his own jet and things like that just to get more money. I don't know. The guy's crazy. My number 1, and well, it's just because I thought he had a great year, and I'll explain. MJF.
All right. Yeah, I had MJF at number 5, middle of the pack. What made MJF have the best year in wrestling, Brian?
Well, you take everything that he did Okay, so you take MJF. Let's look at it this way. 2020 was the first full year of AEW. They kicked off 2019 in October. So they had 3 months. They had October,
Right.
part of October, November, and December. Boom. January 2020, we're off to the races. They got 3 months to warm up, and then they were off to the races for that full year. He had a full year. He went from being a guy that wrestled wherever the heck you want to pay him to wrestle to being MJF, to getting world title matches and being on pay-per-views, being a worldwide heel. I mean, he made little kids cry because he stuck to the heel gimmick at comic conventions and such and gave them the finger and pissed their dads off. And he became the pro wrestler that you're supposed to be in pro wrestling. And he took his name from nothing. It meant nothing. When I remember I started watching AEW, I try to be a great Mark and a great Smark here on the KayFabe Smark podcast, but I can't know everybody. And he came from an independent scene, and I went, I don't know who the hell this guy is. I know who MJF is, and I'm excited when he's on the TV. His matches are great. The goofy shit that he did with the song and dance, I hated every second of it. But you know what it did? A lot of people talked about it. I mean, hell, that newspaper gave him a goddamn award.
Yeah.
So whether it's great to me or not, people are talking about him, and he's having a hell of a year. He can wrestle, he can talk, and he can take a turd and polish it up and make it gold. So he did that with the Orange Cassidy stuff, and he did that with his debates and his presidential run and everything like that. This new thing of joining the inner circle, that's a 2021 problem he's going to have.
Yeah, we'll see how that works. And just to touch on, MJF's greatest asset is committing to the role, keeping it kayfabe, even to the point of feuding with Brody Lee's son just a few days after his dad died, giving him shit, flipping him off. So, MJF definitely a throwback to the old school style of wrestling where you were that character constantly.
100. Who they got at number
All
one?
right. Getting to Sports Illustrated's number one, they've got Sasha Banks. She was a little lower on my list. Was she on yours at all?
No, she didn't make mine. It was just, she existed for me. She had a great year, but for me to go, God dang.
Yeah. Sports Illustrated thought she was the best thing in 2020. I disagree, but that's Sports Illustrated's number one. My number one was Drew McIntyre. Again, the comeback story to where he was gone for so long, and then you and I saw him at not Cobo Arena. Jeez, oh Pizza saying 1988. We saw him at Little Caesars Arena. And he was just fighting some dark match, cage match shit. And we're like, oh, Drew McIntyre is back. And then now all of a sudden, he's a fucking beast. He squashed Brock Lesnar. And he is killing it in 2020. And I love when Drew McIntyre's on the screen. So he was my number one for 2020.
Now, guys that didn't make my list that I still love, Seth Rollins, Eddie Kingston, just to name a few. These guys didn't make the list because Eddie hadn't been around long enough yet in my vision of 2020. Now he went from nothing to all of a sudden to being a guy on TV. But he just has I'll still always love Eddie Kingston. Seth Rollins, same thing. He went, him and Becky had got a kid, and this thing and that, and changed the dynamic of the way it goes. They gave him this weird characters, but nonetheless, I love Seth Rollins. So there's a lot of people that are still great and had good years, but these are the people in my head that I went, man, when I think of wrestling, these are 10 people that just come right to my head.
This is the cream of the crop.
It's the way I look at it. If you don't like my opinion, I don't know what to tell you.
Give me something better. Yeah.
Leave me a comment of how you would put it in there. All right. Well, that was the big chunk of that. You got any other news or anything else before we pop on and move along to, breaking down AEW?
No, I'm ready to hop into AEW. We've got New Year's Smash Day 2. And we started off hot here, coming in with Eddie Kingston versus Pac in the opening match.
Yes. I was very disappointed that they didn't have Jericho on commentary again. I know there was your boy Jimmy Cornette over there was not happy about Jericho on commentary, but my God, I loved it.
Yeah, you and I thought Jericho on commentary was fantastic. That's where his comedy skills really come in. Cornette just thought he sounded like an idiot and just constantly screams, and they are down on Cornette. But nonetheless, no Jericho on commentary this week. We start out with Eddie Kingston and Pac. Now, uh, one thing I am pumped about for AEW, they're listening, not to us necessarily, but they're listening to the fans, to the critics, and we got a hell of a package for the Eddie Kingston and Pac feud there going on. We got a good 30 seconds to a minute just recap of everything that was going on, and it wasn't something that you have to watch Being the Elite or you have to watch YouTube on Tuesdays to know what's going on. They told me everything I needed to know to be interested in this match.
Yes, and they're building it up good. Now, this match was great. This Eddie Kingston match. Pac is a great wrestler. Eddie Kingston is a great performer. To put the two together, you had very, very good entertaining times of watching these guys. You can watch Pac fly around. You can watch Eddie Kingston ground him and pound him and fight dirty and give you that mental type of, I know it's cliche, but that Jake the Snake style of wrestling that, where's you going and kind of telling the story. So it was a great match. These guys did good. My thought is, you know what? I think we're going to see I still feel we're going to see a turn from Penta El Cerro Dinero.
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro. I think he's going to still turn on because he still hasn't officially done anything to Eddie Kingston. He still never got his hands on him. We haven't actually seen him turn on Eddie Kingston. I think there's something more there. It's AEW. They could just change that whenever the hell they feel like it, though.
Yeah, well, that's purely speculation, so we're going to go ahead and put a bookmark in that one, and we'll see how that turns out. I noted that it's good to see the Butcher got some time off from his job at Sherwin-Williams to show up in his white jeans and a white T-shirt and black belt.
2 weeks ago, he was wearing genie pants.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, Butcher. Yeah, what was he? He was filling in for fucking the Aladdin on Ice play or something a couple weeks ago. But now he's back to Sherwin-Williams. He got off work and he was able to make it to Jacksonville for this show.
Yeah, I mean, the match got a little wild on the outside with some stuff. They're out there for a long time, I thought, and because, our boy was in there as the referee, and we all know how we feel about Mr. Paul Turner.
Turner's a moron.
Yes, Jericho, you are right. Turner is a moron.
Couldn't agree more.
I hate Paul Turner, and he sucked in this match officiating it. He's terrible. But good match, though. I did enjoy the match.
Yeah, my takeaway from this match, it was a good match. The MVP of this match is selling. Pac was selling like a babyface. He is they're both kind of small guys. Pac's built like a brick shit house. Eddie Kingston is a little chubby, but still, you got the babyface feel from Pac, and he was selling like a motherfucker, and you had sympathy for Pac. And then also the selling worked for Eddie Kingston because he would sell his ass off and slow down the pace of the match so his chubby lungs could catch back up because he was winded.
Blown up. Well, that also helps out on the opposite side of it to slow Pac down so he's not just constantly jumping off of stuff. Hey, look, Pac's jumping twisting in the air again. Hey, look, he's off of the ropes. Hey, look, he's jumping over the ropes. Hey, look. Okay, we get it. Enough of the jumping over the ropes. We get it. But
we get it.
So that slowed it down. You had that yin to yang thing going on there. So I enjoyed this match quite a bit.
Yeah. Pac ends up winning with the red arrow off the top rope. Everybody that the Butcher and the Blade and who came down with Pac there? The rest of the Death Circle or the Death Triangle.
Yeah, Death Triangle.
Everybody gets in the ring. Lance Archer and Jake Roberts show up. Archer gets in Pac's face and tells him to get on the same page.
the Adam page. I don't know what you meant.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that was. But after that, we've got here we go. We got our young boy match. We've got Schmuck Taylor being accompanied to the ring by Orange Cassidy versus Miro being accompanied to the ring by the groom to be Kip Sabian. And just first thing I notice is just across the board, they've changed the whole young boy thing to Butler. He's going to be Miro's butler. He's going to be Miro's butler.
New Japan probably owns Young Boy. They probably got mad at him and said you can't use it. They probably, we own the copyrights to that. I noticed that too. That bugged me. And the other thing that bugged me about this match starting from last week is Miro has to win. He has to win. Otherwise, it don't make no sense. You're going to make him.
There's no other way around it.
You're going to make an undefeated guy that's supposed to come in and, people are like, yeah, he's coming in and he's going to be the badass he should be. And then he's going to come in and lose to Chuck Taylor and then be his butler. Oh, yeah, that'll go over great. Great, nice character building. It's already a little weak as it is in being a video game guy and wearing goofy clothes. Feel my drip. So, yeah, well, you can't. He had to lose. And then you got Orange Cassidy standing out there like a moron the whole time. He didn't even get involved. I know we'll probably break down the match a little more, but just an overall, he didn't get involved. That's his friend in there. The one time that he's supposed to be involved, he didn't get involved.
That's a good point, Brian. So Orange Cassidy's whole character is he's lazy. He's the king of sloth style. He doesn't care about wrestling or fighting. But, at this point, while his buddy Schmuck Taylor's getting beat up, Orange Cassidy, you're just an asshole. You're the worst friend. Fuck being a wrestler and sticking your hands in your pockets. You're a shitty friend, Orange Cassidy.
Just a shitty friend. Like, this guy gave you rides in his minivan and stuff. Like, god dang.
But what I feared in this match, I feared that AEW is going to do what AEW does and make this a 50-50 perfectly matched match, if you will. I thought they were going to make Schmuck Taylor look just as powerful as Miro, and that's how it started. Schmuck Taylor was in control from the very beginning. Miro makes a comeback, and Miro starts smashing the shit out of Taylor, and that's when it clicked in my head. I said, logically, if I was booking this match, Schmuck Taylor, he got to look good for a minute. Miro's making his comeback. Bam, this should be the end of the match. Miro does exactly that, ends up making Schmuck Taylor tap with the camel clutch, and Schmuck Taylor is now Miro's butler until the wedding.
His butler the next month. And then Orange Cassidy still stood there like an idiot after he lost. He didn't even get emotional, put his hands in his head, like he just, I was minimally sold on Orange Cassidy, and now I'm maximally cashed out.
Pull the clip. He's the next Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. I didn't say that. I said he has potential. And I still feel he has potential. They're just doing nothing with it.
And this is the Miro we need. If Miro can perform like this on a constant basis, this Miro can be amazing and a fucking monster in AEW. So this is the Miro we need. I hope we see more of them acting like this and less like a goofy Minnie Mouse t-shirt wearing fucking schlub.
No, I'm glad I'm glad that they didn't make it a 100% squash match though. Because I didn't want to see him just come out, boom, boom, 2 moves, put him in the accolade or the game over or the timeout or whatever they call his camel clutch now, and then it was just over, just a 2-move squasher. Because then it's like, all right, cool. He went to the new company and he says, I get to win my matches. You know what I'm saying? It gives me that Goldberg feel, where it's like Goldberg gets to come in and only has to work for 42 seconds because he hits a spear and a jackhammer and it's over. So I don't want that to be his gimmick here. He got beat up a little bit. He got the bearings under him, and then he squashed the shit out of him. Gave him about a minute and a half of offense, and then, boom, it was Miro's game. So I enjoyed that. That's why I liked it.
I was very happy with the booking of this match. Like I said, Schmuck Taylor got to look good for a second, caught Miro off guard. Miro gained control. Zip zap, it's over. So basically, this whole AEW show, for the most part, had its weak points, but from the AEW we've been seeing lately, this is one of the best shows that I've seen from AEW. So there's not going to be a ton of shitting on it from me. But we'll see as we roll on. We head to the back and we've got Dasha with Party Hardy, that being, of course, Matt Hardy with Private Party. And Hardy is just really sinking into and really digging his heels into this scumbag agent thing. And Private Party just must have missed acting classes. They're trying to push back on the 30% and say he's ripping them off, but it's stupid. They can't act to save their lives, and it just came off as shit.
Well, that is fact. The other thing, they didn't even give this 1 week. They were excited 1 week ago when we saw them. They were excited. They went, oh, we signed with Matt Hardy. Oh, and they're like, oh, you can keep your Twitch money and you can keep your Cameo money or your third-party platforms. And they were like, whop, whop, whop. They signed it, and yeah, it's all right there. And even Snoop Dogg was there, and he went, gave him a thumbs up because Snoop didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know why he was told to stand there. And that was it. That was the last time we saw these morons. Then this week we come back, and Matt Hardy, from signing these guys, got a suit. Now he wears suits. And he's a manager, and he says, you signed the deal. Last week they were happy about the deal. So they didn't even build up a storyline to slowly show how they're being screwed by Matt Hardy. They just went, yay, boo. Like, man, guys, give something time. Even if it's a shitty storyline, at least give it a minute or two to, like, I mean, god dang, WWE had a whole, how long did they go on with this stupid hand when Mae Young gave birth to a hand? I mean, she was pregnant for months and then finally gave birth to a hand. That's how they got out of it. So anyways, give this shit some time to settle and figure out where to go with it. They just went, beep, beep, ping pong, change. Next week they're going to come back and be happy. Or they're just going to not be signed with them and never talk about it again.
Yeah, that's AEW for you. They just rush every story. They don't know how to milk anything.
Knee jerk, knee jerk.
They could have drawn out so much shit from 2020. We could still be talking about feuds that happened fucking 8 months ago if they could at least draw them out somewhat. But just knee-jerk reactions. Every booking is rushed. And, yeah, we'll see how this works out with Scumbag Hardy and Private Party. We come out to the ring and we've got Inner Circle coming out, and they're going to talk about their New Year's resolutions. Hagar, man, give him the fucking Oscar for his acting there. Championships. That's his New Year's resolution, Brian.
Championship. This was just, it was supposed to be funny. Jericho's having a hard time being a heel because Jericho wants to be liked. He loves those people singing his song. And the people are supposed to hate him. So then he tries to make them mad. But he's smiling while they're singing the song, right? You can see that smirk. Like, I mean, who wouldn't love that? I'd love that. You know?
Right.
And then he's going to be like, I hate all of you. And it's like, it doesn't come across right. He's not a great, he's a good bad guy, but he's not a good heel, if that makes sense. Because the heel, you're supposed to, like, hate and want to hate. And people love Jericho. But he can be like that anti-hero bad guy type thing. So, I don't know. They got to figure that out. Anyways, this thing was supposed to be serious, and then it turned into goofy nonsense, and it ended strangely. So, we'll continue. Obviously, I'm assuming you hated every second of it.
Yeah. That's about the longest story.
Yeah. Let me sum this up for you. Yeah.
Yeah. MJFs. New Year's resolutions, growing bonds, blah, 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 and fat people got to go. Just went for the cheap heat on that one. Whatever. Ortiz, let's go for some soft racism here. He's just going to focus on his grandma's sofarito. Jericho, him and MJF are going to be tag champs.
And then Sammy's response.
Blah, blah, blah.
Sammy's response was very canned and cheap, too. It was bad. It was almost like it was written on Jericho's suit jacket, and he was reading it as he's looking at him. You're a tag team whore. Slut. Tag team slut.
Tag team slut, Brian. Get it right. Get it right or pay the price. So Santana objects. Him and Ortiz are supposed to be the tag team. Sammy Guevara obviously teamed with Jericho in the past. Jericho's teamed with Hager. Jericho's a tag team slut. And that brings us to next week's match. We've got a 3-way tag match, all within the inner circle here. We've got MJF and Jericho versus Proud and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz versus Team Sammy Hager, which that actually got a half a giggle out of me. Sammy and Hagar there. And the winner of this match,
They're going to
they
be,
just
I
represent?
think they're going to be the tag team from the inner circle to go out and try and snatch the gold. I think that was it. That was
All
just
right.
be the
Whatever.
tag team.
Poor Wardlow. Wardlow's number 7. So
Wardlow.
he's just the odd man out.
I thought they could have even worked an angle with that and had Sammy not have a tag team partner, that when he said he was going to be partners with Hager, and Hager's like, no, me and the big man. And then Sammy's left standing with his dick in his hand after he just threw a fit and called Jericho a tag team slut. Right? I mean,
I personally would have had MJF make that decision just to turn up the heat between him and Sammy and be like, no. Hager and Wardlow, they just had that match last week. They're going to tag team.
and Sammy's left there. Then he gives Sammy a reason to interfere. And then who does he turn on? And who does he help? Right? You're going to go, now it's just going to be a goofy match with 6 people that you don't give a shit about, and Wardlow standing on the outside with his arms crossed. I did like in this, though, when people booed the Sofaritas, and MJF goes, "You're booing food?" I did like, because I think that was 100% off the hip. He was just, because you didn't know what people were going to pop to, and he just went, "You're booing food?" And then they just moved past it, like this isn't in the script, but it was needed to be said. I thought it was funny. We can continue.
They pulled back the curtain a little on that one. So the winner of this 3-way next week will be the representative tag team from Inner Circle. And then let's head to the back. We've got my favorite interviewer and yours, Brian Alex Marvez, with the Dork Order. And thank God Marvez handed that microphone over real quick. And the Dark Order interviews Adam Page. They want an answer. Is Page going to join the Dark Order?
And they say that they'll get an answer next week.
Next week. Riveting stuff, Rampa.
Riveting stuff. I thought this was a weird angle they're taking on the Dark Order. I don't know if they're changing it because because of the loss of Brody Lee recently, that it's not the dark. It's not like the cult anymore. The cultish feel to it's gone. It's kind of like the oddities now.
I was going to say, or Second City comedy troupe. They're all trying to be as goofy and funny as they can.
Right. They're kind of just like the land of misfit toys, this group of people. So that's kind of where I was like, this is a different Dark Order, but maybe it's out of respect to what the Dark Order was supposed to be versus what it's going to be. But nonetheless, that's just a thought in my head. We can continue on. It was goofy, and we'll see if Adam Page joins, and he won't.
Correct. And speaking of the oddities, Uno looks like Golga.
Of course.
Right. So now we get another package where they're informing us and keeping us up to speed on the feuds here. We've got the Darby Allin and Brian Cage package, and we get to see the heat between him and get you real pumped for that match coming up at the end of the night. That's our main event. And then we move right back to the back. We've got Dasha back there with Don Callis, Kenny Omega, and the Bucks. And they're getting hype. They're ready for this match.
The elite. They're coming back. They're going to do the big 3-man entrance, aren't they, Eric? They're going to be the elite and come out. Kenny's got his friends. They're back together. And nope. Don Callis says they've got their own entrance. They need to have it themselves. You need your own entrance. Plus, they can't do the long-winded Justin Roberts, Kenny Omega entrance. I can't be mad at Justin. He's just doing his job. But nonetheless, he's the one that has to deliver it, so I'm shooting the messenger. The North Carolina. Okay, we get it. I don't get it. I don't know why they're still shooting on North Carolina so much. If it's the only thing I can think of is a Ric Flair shot somewhere in there. So they got that. They do this. And then Don Callis grabs the mic.
Now, just rewinding it a couple bits here. Once Don Callis started talking and said Kenny Omega was going to get his own entrance and the Buck was going to get theirs, Omega makes his entrance. Callis gets the mic. And soon as he starts talking about your tag team champions and Kenny's best friends, it was in the air, Brian. I smelled garbage. I knew a double cross was coming.
Well,
This isn't
yeah.
retrospective 2020 glasses here. I saw this thing coming from a mile away. I assume you did too.
I saw a red flag when he said, well, they need their own entrance. They have their own entrance. He wasn't putting over Kenny like I was just going into. He was putting over the Bucks. Now, the Bucks got their own entrance. They need to do their own thing. And you're going, okay. I saw the wedge being driven between Kenny and the Bucks because Callis wants to keep his investment, his own, whatever they're going to go with the storyline, in kayfabe world. So I was like, okay, they're going to drive a wedge in there. And essentially, this is what we get. So Don Callis tells Justin Roberts to take the night off, kid. I got this one. And he introduces their best friends, Kenny Omega's best friends, the tag team champions, the Good Brothers, the Impact tag team champions.
And out come Carl Anderson and what's the other guy's name?
Doc Gallows. Big Doc Gallows.
Yeah, Doc Gallows. And we saw the double cross coming. We've got the Young Bucks and Tony Khan standing backstage, and they some grumpy gooses. They just each took a bite out of a lemon. They are cranky boys.
This is where I completely was so irritated. Last week, the show ends with all 2, 4, 5 of them, and then Don Callis, right?
Right.
Too sweeten. Everybody throws it up. Good Brothers throw it up. Kenny joins them. And
they sell a T-shirt.
And they're like, come on. They're looking at the Young Bucks. And the Bucks, boom, they throw it up. They too sweet their, quote, we'll use the term loosely, Bullet Club brethren, the elite Bullet Club. Boom. All right, they join forces. How is it a double cross when somebody from your own stable goes in a match instead of you? How did they break up the elite when the elite was the Good Brothers, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega? They can't drive a wedge. This isn't the wedge to drive. How is it everybody was so mad? The Young Bucks were like, those are your friends. You're supposed to be on their side. You should be like, yeah, all right, yeah, put the Good Brothers in there. I didn't know they were here tonight. They could have so then they took that heel aspect of what they just gave the Bucks in 1 week. Again, in 1 week, they took the heel aspect they just gave the Bucks and said, nope, now you're mad at your friend because you didn't get to wrestle. I'm taking my ball and going home.
And since Good Brothers and Kenny Omega are established heels now, that automatically makes Young Bucks baby faces again.
And they
were only heels for like 5 minutes.
On TV, 30 seconds. They threw up the too sweet. It went off the air. Some goofy show came on TNT, and then the next time we see them, they're mad at their friend now. Tony Schiavone, Schiavone kept yelling, they broke up the elite. The elite was all of these guys. So let's take it back to 1997, and you go, DX, the Road Dogg says, I got a tag team partner, and I'm introducing X-Pac instead of Billy Gunn, and you go, oh, they broke up the DX. No, they just took another guy from DX and moved him over here.
Now, where I'll agree with you is in that aspect where they're a stable and it's not breaking them up or double crossing if you're just taking 2 other guys from the stable. I think where the double cross, because I use the term also, was throwing eggs at the Young Bucks' face. They get left with eggs on their face. They look like idiots. It was a Don Callis big fuck you to the Young Bucks. Now, and that's where I would call it a double cross.
That I can give you. And that aspect I can give you, that this was the double cross, like it was that big wedge being driven between them, that they said that they didn't have them even come out and say, hey, or I get it of what was done, but it really wasn't. They didn't break up anything. You still gotta. There's just like it should have been tensions in the ranks. They should have used a term like that. What's going on in the elite? I thought these guys were going to be their partner, and the Young Bucks never came out to confront any of it. They just stood in the back and waved their hands around, did bad acting, and and Tony Khan just shook his head with his headphones on in gorilla position, and it was just how do you break up a group when it's people from the same fucking group? In 1 week, too. They didn't even let it settle. They didn't even let Don Callis take 10,000 death by paper. 10,000 cuts is what's going to kill you, right? He didn't even get all the little jabs in for weeks and weeks and weeks. And on Impact, and saying, like, imagine if they did it on Impact the same way, where he's saying, we're going to have you tag with the real tag team champions, Gallows and Anderson. So they keep saying, inferring that the Young Bucks are not real tag team champions. They have them, things like that could really just keep driving that wedge until there's an explosion. It was, again, we got 7 days. We're friends. We're not. So now they don't like Doc Gallows. They don't like Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. They're like, we're not friends with you no more.
I
could talk about this. This made me so mad, and I was so excited for it. I'm glad I didn't buy that stupid fucking shirt.
Oh, you were hype about that shirt, but that's the story of Wednesday night show was good matches, bad booking. And again, this was a good match, though. We had Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers versus Danny Limelight and the Varsity Blondes. I've never seen Danny Limelight before, but to me, first thing I thought when I saw him is he just looks like your average Puerto Rican barber from Brooklyn. Took some gymnastics classes and bouncing off the ropes, and then there you go. You get contract in AEW.
Savio Vega's nephew, and there you go. It's a wrap.
But the Varsity Blondes look good. I absolutely love Brian Pillman Jr. I think he's got potential galore, and that fluffy mullet is sick. And but the Varsity Blondes came out looking really good in this match, really got to show off their skills. But the point of this match was to show the dominance of the heels, Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers.
100%. It was a glorified squash match. It was a squash match where they gave the guys some time. It wasn't quite Ned Johnson with a satin jacket already in the ring on Saturday Morning Superstars against The Undertaker, and you're going, oh, these guys really got a chance. It was, some guys that have an established name, but you knew they're just going to get beat up. Sorry, kid, you're going to get beat up tonight, and that's kind of what happened in the long run. Long story short.
Yeah, at least these guys have names. Spoiler alert, over on NXT on the same night, Xia Li fought some chick who never even got a name. Not Kim Lee or fucking Jane Johnson or anything. She was done before the fucking bell rang. But yeah, anyway, Varsity Blondes still look good. Anderson gets the pin on Danny Limelight, and that just brought up one question with me. This connection here, we've got Impact on, I can't tell you the channel now, the fucking viewing channel or whatever.
Oh God, it was Access for a while.
Yeah, maybe it is Access. I don't know. But
it's on the TV Guide channel.
Who is this alliance helping? I don't think it's helping AEW. I think it's helping Impact. So Tony Khan's kind of getting fucked on this because he's letting a tag team, the Good Brothers, come over and get on national cable TV, and he is letting the tag team champions from Impact completely outshine any tag team that he's got in his company, AEW. The Good Brothers in this match, they're working together, their power, their finesse just outshined any tag team in AEW. And I think this alliance is hurting AEW, helping Impact. And I don't know how good of an idea this alliance is.
Yeah, I do know that Tony Khan is, quote, I use the term loosely, buying TV time on their TV show to advertise AEW, and he's talking shit about them, right? The commercials that they make. They're pretty funny commercials, to be honest with you, that he does with Schiavone. So I think there's a trade that he's trying to talk shit about TNA or Impact and draw over some people that aren't watching and talking, but he's advertising on a show that I don't even know how to watch. So, you're going to go out and grab, 5,000 more people. I don't know. Maybe they're just looking to build up to this. Could be building towards, I'm giving them way too much credit on thinking this far ahead, but building up to super shows where it's a super show pay-per-view. Old school feel where it was the AWA, the NWA all coming together and, putting on these super show pay-per-views to take on WWF, WWE. So there could be something that they're building there for some cross-brand promotions and matches like that. I don't know. I'm just happy I get to see the Good Brothers work because I don't know how to watch them wrestle on TV. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to find Impact. I can't even find it like on the internet to, watch.
Yeah.
I'm not implying to pay for.
Well, sometime down the line, this might be some decent booking again with a super show or something like that. But in the short term thinking, they're letting the competition come over and outshine them. So I don't know. We'll see how it works out. Once again, the Good Brothers get the pen on this match and Moxley's music hits. Moxley comes from the side door from outside. He was again changing into his wrestling gear and his car, and Mox attacks Omega. Immediately gets jumped by the Good Brothers, and the Lucha Bros make the save.
What I've always liked about Moxley and what I liked about him in this section here, in this little segment, is that he's not afraid to go jump in the ring and get beat up. Now, whether this is all working punches and he never gets really hurt, which is, obviously what's happening, he's not afraid to go let his character get beat up. A lot of people won't go do that stuff because you're going to make me look weak. You're going to bury me. And every time Moxley gets the shit kicked out of him, it just makes him bigger. People go, right. Oh, wow, this guy doesn't give a shit. He's going to go get beat up. So when you see him, at least you get a pop that you're like, cool, something cool's going to happen. It's going to go. There's going to be a lot of fighting going on and a big brouhaha, a big melee. So at least you're going to get that out of the situation. And that's what I like about it. He doesn't think that everything that he's going to do is going to bury his career or bury his character. It makes his character amazing.
Right. 100%. He gets shit kicked out of him and it makes him look like a badass. But the Lucha Bros come down, make the save. We get 10 jobbers coming out of the dressing room to break up things and also to set themselves up and all hug outside the ring for a catch me spot.
You got the Lucha Bros
without it.
It wouldn't be the Lucha Bros.
And then the Young Bucks pop in, and they're there to calm things down, Brian. So we've got Moxley in the ring. He's done getting his ass kicked. You got the Young Bucks kind of chill, guys. Let's all get this together. You got the Lucha Bros behind the Young Bucks, and just what's going on here? Lucha Bros double super kick to the Young Bucks, and so yeah, who knows where it's going from here?
Oh hell, next week it never happened.
Yeah, I'm sure next week the feud will be starting and ending, and Lucha Bros and Young Bucks will be on to something else. But more people come out, pure chaos. Omega and Don Callis slink out of the ring, go up the ramp, and that's the end of this angle.
Probably literally the end of the angle.
Oh, I meant for this show, but yes, you speak the truth. That's probably the end of it. We'll never hear of this again.
Literally the end. It's a wrap. It's done. We're done. What do we want to do next week? Just put names in a hat and make them draw to see who's going to be champion next week. All right, where are we moving on to now?
On to our next segment here. Britt Baker has a new talk show.
Well,
she's got her own.
News a loosely used term.
Pit.
She's been running hot with it for a little bit over on Dark.
Oh, the waiting room has been over there?
Yeah. New to Dynamite.
All right. Let's rewind. Britt Baker is debuting her show, The Waiting Room, on AEW Dynamite on Wednesday night. She's
I was gonna say I never watched it on Dark. I just always would catch it on Instagram. They would have the clips. It would make the social media rounds. But anywho, go ahead.
Well, I liked it. This is you and I talked about Britt Baker. We've talked about her a lot this year or last year. Really making a name for herself as a heel. She's out there healing it up, roasting Cody. Tells him that he should at least make one good decision, unlike the tattoo on his neck. And
I like
she's
how
just out there roasting Cody.
I like the comment when she said that his kid is gonna get an action figure before her. Just you're gonna have a kid. Congratulations, your kid's gonna get an action figure before me. And then they did the pyro thing too. They grabbed those sparklers, and they're like, "Oh, we're contractually obligated." And they grabbed sparklers and held it up for pyro for Cody's entrance.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Cody comes out looking like he just won the PGA Masters tournament. He's got that fucking green jacket
I hated that jacket.
We got a little panic moment because, of course, Britt Baker and Rebel had to do the pyro for Cody, and they're carrying the sparklers. Nobody put a bucket of water or an ashtray or anything out there for the sparklers, and these fucking idiots just throw the sparklers on the carpet. And poor Cody, the executive VP, had to go stomp the sparklers out so they didn't catch the damn set on fire. I mean, it's AEW, man. It just wouldn't be AEW without a shit show. But that's we start the interview with Cody. I loved Britt's line that kid's gonna get an action figure way before me. Cody kind of shrugs affirmatively, like, yeah, probably, bitch. You know.
I almost lost my headphones.
Britt, another zinger there. Come on. No fake friends, just fake teeth. And Cody genuinely looks surprised. Like, damn, girl, you roasting. Like, I don't think he was privy to the script on this one. I think they just kind of went off the cuff.
Yeah,
but,
it was pretty funny up until that point.
Yeah, at this point I'm enjoying myself, and then AEW happens, and then Tony Khan happens. In comes Jade Cargill, and boy, we get another golden promo from Jade Cargill. She's so fucking awkward.
Me and Shaq want to know.
From a verbal standpoint, Jade Cargill is fucking Bambi on ice. She is just fucking shaky and unsure of herself and has weird pauses, like she can't remember her lines. And just like you said right here, the line, Shaq and I are still waiting. What the fuck does Shaq have to do with any of this? Last time a mention of Shaq or a visual of Shaq even happened was like 6 weeks ago. What the fuck does Shaq have to do with Jade Cargill? And why is Jade Cargill even on this goddamn TV show? She can't work. She can't talk. I don't know who she fucked to get on this fucking TV show, but Cargill's got to go, man.
Hit the bricks.
Fuck this broad, dude.
No, Eric, it makes sense when people talk like a rhythm in this manner. They're
I think she was reading off the teleprompter and fucking didn't get past second grade reading classes
backwards or something. I don't know what was going on. That was miserable. And then you had Red Velvet come out after, because when Brandy comes back to the show, you tell her boop boop boop, and then she walked out. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I had to double take because I think Red Velvet and Brandy look so similar that I thought Brandy came out for like in a blink of an eye. I mean, I'm like, why would Brandy come out? And then I was like, oh no, that's that other chick that she's been rolling with. And that then
yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was Brandy for a split second too, and I'm like, bitch ain't pregnant. And I'm like, oh, never mind, that's Red Velvet.
Oh, wrong person. You're right.
we get a hell of a fucking heel promo with Britt Baker and Cody going back and forth, and then we just had to shit all over it by bringing out Jade Cargill and Red Velvet and making it about them. And it's why is the question of this segment.
Why? Correct. And then
with no warning, no smooth transition,
no reason.
I rewound just to make sure I didn't miss something.
I'm not alone.
The screen just all of a sudden, it's a jump cut to the video of Britt 3 or 4 weeks ago washing the paint off of Thunder Rosa's face. Again, no reason, no lead in, no nothing. And I am just confused at this point. And what the fuck is going on? Thunder Rosa comes on and cuts a promo about Britt Baker. And they set up the match. It's going to be Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker at the fucking Valentine's Day thing.
The
beach break.
Beach break.
And Britt, in true chicken shit heel fashion, refuses the match.
She tried
bitches at Tony Khan, said she didn't have to wrestle Thunder Rosa. And then the graphic goes up, Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa beach break. So
Britt tried to polish up the turd. She grabbed it and she's like, I'm not doing it, Tony. You said I don't have to. I'm not doing it. And she really turned into, the character of Britt Baker again and was doing her damnedest to play with the card she was dealt. None of it didn't make any sense. We went from Cody to Jade Cargill to then Red Velvet, and then a video package played with no warning. Cody was never to be seen again, and then it just ended abruptly. I was trying to figure out if this was taped or if it was live, or I couldn't figure out what was happening. I couldn't figure out if it was bad editing or bad timing. I didn't know what was happening, and I still don't really know. Don't really care either.
I don't know. Britt Baker tried to polish a turd and just ended up with shit on her hands. And but that moves us to our next segment here. We've got Jungle Boy Jack Perry and his partner, the Glizzy Gobbler himself, Marco Cunt, versus FTR. And
Eric, how do you feel about Marco Stunt?
I think
I still hate that guy.
Is that true?
Yeah, I still hate that guy. I agree with Jericho there. Marco Stunt does not belong in a wrestling ring. He's a mascot. A fucking, that's about it. He's a mascot, a representative, a fanboy, and he's
a sideshow match.
Every time he gets in a ring and they give him a competitive match, they're taking a shit on the business. But so we've got Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Marco Stunt versus the best tag team wrestlers in the entire business, FTR. Now, this point, we're going to take a step back here. Jungle Boy's new music. Jungle Boy's new music is the 80s hit Tarzan Boy by Baltimora. I heard about this in the news throughout the week before Wednesday, and I didn't take it upon myself to Google the song. I just was like, whatever. Tony Khan bought some obscure 80s song. Oh no, this is Jungle Boy, or not Jungle Boy, Tarzan Boy. And we've all heard this song a million times. We're not going to play it because we're on YouTube and who knows, we probably get yanked down. But just if you get a chance, Google Tarzan Boy by Baltimora. Tony Khan bought the rights to this song to use as Jungle Boy's new theme music. And this is kind of exciting to me, actually, Brian, because Tony Khan also bought the rights to the Tom Waits song Old 55 for Brody Lee's tribute. So I think this may be a trend within AEW and Tony Khan where we won't have to rely on some, I don't want to say amateur because they're professionals, but just some wrestling guy making up theme music for these wrestlers. We might go back to the point where wrestlers are using real songs.
And just paying
beautiful
the rights.
Yeah. I can't think of fucking any right now, but CM Punk was using Cult of Personality.
Right.
Vince had to pay an arm and a leg for that one, but never did that shit again.
Yeah, very few and far between has that and does that happen. But, everybody's suffering right now due to a pandemic, so some people might take an easy buyout.
Yeah,
And
so
you got a lot of money, you might just go ahead and just buy the song, not even pay the royalty rights, just buy the song. That's mine now.
yeah, so Tony Khan's starting a new trend there, buying old 80s songs and giving them to wrestlers as theme music. But we'll see how that goes. Tarzan Boy, not the most exciting song in the world, but it's kind of goofy and funny, and it goes with Jungle Boy's gimmick, and it works.
Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this match, Eric.
Yeah, let's get into this match. Immediately, I think FTR should just absolutely murder Marco Stunt. They should not sell for Marco Stunt. They should go out there and squash the shit out of him. And whatever, if they want to have a good match, get Jungle Boy in there. But I am forced to be disappointed because FTR is selling for Marco Stunt like crazy. They're giving into his gymnastics and his catch me spots. And at this point in the match, I'm not even exaggerating. I started to feel sick to my stomach because FTR is just playing along with this garbage. Marco Stunt is 4'10" and 95 pounds. FTR are selling like bitches for him. And at one point, FTR, let's see, what is this here? Fuck.
See, what I thought was, I'll let you get your notes straight there and get your thought together. What my thought was that they did okay because Marco Stunt was used as the weapon for a lot of it in the double teaming with Jungle Boy. So I thought that they handled that pretty good because the way that they offset it. It wasn't just Marco Stunt in the ring beating up FTR. Like, that's not going to happen. So I thought they sold it pretty well with it being done in a double team fashion. That was my take on it. I wasn't excited. It still wasn't like, oh my God, it was the best match of the world. I'm talking about this for 2021 wrap-up year. But they utilized him as a double team weapon type thing.
Yeah, and it was just that it took everything FTR had and Tully Blanchard getting involved by pushing Marco Stunt into a post to beat these two tiny guys. I like Jungle Boy Jack Perry, but he's 170 pounds soaking wet, or probably closer to 150 pounds. Marco Stunt's probably under 100 pounds, and FTR had to give everything they had and cheat to beat these two schmucks. And it just, not to use the term bury and overuse that term, but it kind of made FTR look like shit. They should have won this match a lot easier than they did.
I didn't like the fact that they had to resort to, quote, cheating tactics. That doesn't bode well in the sale of their career and their characters with being the real professional wrestlers, right? And being the real, not sports entertainers, but pro wrestlers. They sports entertained us last night.
And precisely. And my final thought on this match is Marco Stunt is just unnecessary. So you had him gobbling glizzies over in that indie show. So you already know, even if you're doing goofy shit on your show, Marco Stunt's out there sucking fake dicks. And that's not a good look for your company. Also, the guy is under 5 foot tall and as skinny as a string bean. And you're having your bigger guys sell for him. So he's making your talent look like shit. He's making your heels look like shit. There is no reason to use them. This match would have been 10 times better if you had Luchasaurus in there instead of Marco Stunt. At this point, I think AEW is playing to the fucking nerds who got bullied in high school. And look, wrestlers are just like you. They get bullied and they come back from adversity and they beat up the bad guys. No. Any real life situation, Marco Stunt would have his head ripped off his fucking shoulders and shoved up his ass.
Now, I know, yeah, unfortunately, you're not wrong. They're just playing to the public in general. like to the society, the way the society is right now. They're just playing up to, sensitivity running the world. So, unfortunately, there's that bit of realism that they're playing to in that. And it doesn't. It's not selling. It's not boding well. It doesn't make good for good TV.
Keep it to the Shawn and Diesel matchup with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and I think you got a winner there.
Yeah.
But moving on, we've got our NWA Championship match, another collaboration idea with Tony Khan and NWA here. We've got Ty Conti versus Serena Deeb, and
now before we get in and tear this apart too much, this is kind of what brought Nick Aldis back on my radar and a thought when I talked about him in my top 10 thing going on here, my honorable mentions. Why haven't they done this with the men's crossover yet? I mean, the men's championship isn't being really defended anywhere, and if it is, I haven't seen it or heard about it or don't know how to watch it. So why aren't they doing that with Nick Aldis and bringing him over to defend that in AEW? What could it hurt at this point? You just had Impact tag team champions on your TV.
Right. You got me there, Brian.
This is a thought in my head, but we can dive into this match as we move on here.
But yeah, I think maybe they just want to take it slow. They've got the NWA Women's Champions. They've got the Impact Tag Team Champions. If you keep bringing champions in from other promotions, eventually it's not going to be your show anymore. So I think maybe it just might get away from them if they do it too much.
Yeah,
but
I think there's ways to do it. We can talk about that on a whole topic for one show. We'll continue on with this match. I thought this match, I am not always a fan of AEW and their women booking, but not sure how this who booked this exactly when you're booking with another championship from another corporation, another federation, or whatever you want to call it. It's like, I don't know who's involved, but man, they did a damn good job with this. I thought this match was good. I was very entertained by this match.
I thought this match was fantastic. It was good mat wrestling. It wasn't just two cheerleaders out there slapping each other and falling down and fake punching. Well, I mean, that's what wrestling is. But these girls made it look real.
Right.
They were out there stretching each other, putting each other in submissions. They were working their asses off out there. And that just brings me to another con of the situation where I enjoyed this match and I liked seeing these two girls wrestle. But again, you put two of the best female wrestlers from a completely different company on TV and showcase them, and everybody realizes that AEW girls can't wrestle for shit, at least the majority of them. If you're comparing them to a Thunder Rosa or a Ty Conti or a Serena Deeb, they are severely outshined.
Now, where's Ty Conti coming from?
I thought she was from NWA.
Is she from NWA as well, or because she's been hanging out the Dark Order a lot, so I didn't know if she's made the full jump over.
Actually, that may be my mistake. She might be in AEW.
Either way, it's but I thought it was I thought it was a great match and very entertaining, and whoever booked it and how it was booked, whether NWA was involved in that or not sure, but it was done well, and they gelled really well together. I don't really have much to say about it. It was just a good match. I just kind of sat back and got lost in the sauce. I got to get it in. I got to get my quote in. I'm going to get a T-shirt made.
It was a good match, and Serena Deeb wins and retains the belt. And then
and it wasn't even like back to this match just for a half second. It wasn't even that girl match, that ladies match that happens before the main event. Where remember back in the day, like even just like 5 years ago, 8 years ago, it was it's so and so and so and so. I can't think of two girl wrestlers that were involved at the moment, and you'd be like, and it would be a 2-minute match. They'd get 90 seconds. 3 minutes, and then it would be Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins or some nonsense. They were just covering it up. It was just like that bring you down before we give you the real main event, and they put on a good match. It wasn't that. It was a good wrestling match that came before the main event. It was like the women's main event. It just made sense.
Right. I was gonna say that where the placement of the match was exactly what you said, but that it wasn't it wasn't a piss break match. It
Right.
was a match you could actually sit down and watch.
They put it there, and it was like, oh, this is doomed, and then it wasn't. So I like that. We'll go on to what was the main event, the TNT
The main event of
Championship.
the night on AEW was Darby Allin versus Brian Cage, and Darby comes in hot on Brian Cage, starts going off on that boy. Darby attempts almost right off the bat a suicida, and Cage beautifully just catches him by the head and suplexes him on the outside. I thought that was a great way to do a catch me spot. Just catch him by his fucking head and suplex him.
Catch him by his head and throw him. This match was set up to be selling from Darby Allin and working from Brian Cage. I mean, if you didn't go into that seeing that how it's gonna have to go, then you must not watch a lot of pro wrestling. But it was set up to be that. This match was set up to fail, but they had to work through it. So we're going to see what they did here. Did you? They did a lot of heavy spots. They did a lot of Darby Allin spots. What do you think, Eric?
Again, to agree with you, this was all about Darby getting sympathy. He's the underdog. He's a small guy. He's going to sell his ass off like the babyface he is. Brian Cage, the huge monster he is, the muscle-bound ape he is, showing off his strength and dominance. At one point, even gorilla pressing Darby Allin and throwing him a solid 10 or 12 feet ahead through a table. And thank God he made that perfect throw. Because if Darby would have missed that table, I don't know, man. He might have been fucked up.
That's trust. Trust.
So this takes me back. This is one thing that I complained about with FTR and Marco Stunt. Same situation here, just a little different. You got 100-pound difference between these two. Brian Cage, like I just said, gorilla presses and throws Darby Allin halfway across the arena through a table. Then Cage gets a triple power bomb on him, adds a fourth power bomb on the ramp, and then a second rope suplex into the ring. Darby kicks out at 1. In any other era of professional wrestling, you do that spot, 4 power bombs, one of them on a wood ramp, and a second rope suplex, the fucking medical facility is getting called, and you're getting transported, and you're coming out in a neck brace the next week. You're done, ski.
It's a wrap.
Darby Allin kicks out at 1.
1.
So yeah, that kind of shit on it there. I'm not saying they should have ended it and had Brian Cage pin him, but they shouldn't have took it that far to where giving them basically the Fiend Bray Wyatt treatment, where you can hit him with a fucking fire truck and he's just gonna kick out like nothing ever happened.
They could have slowed that down and broke it up between single moves. Move, pin, a 1 count. If he's kicking out at 1 count after 1, right? A gorilla press through a table, boom, okay, 1 count. All right, fine, I'll do this, 1 count. I'll do this, okay, and then it starts to go to 2 counts. And it's close 2 counts, almost 3s, right? And then you can have the momentum change back. But when they just put a machine gun attack on Darby Allin and give him, like you said, run him over with a fire truck, and he's like, 1 count, you're going, you people just aren't getting it. You got to build to this. Build. Just beat him up, and then he's just like, 1 count, I don't care.
He's still a human being. If this 270-pound muscle-bound monster was doing these things for real, Darby Allin would have been paralyzed. So it's just, you're throwing logic out the window, but whatever it is, what it is, we're selling that Darby Allin has the heart of a fighter, and you're not going to keep him down. Darby Allin gets Brian Cage onto the steel steps, does a coffin drop off of the turnbuckle. Ricky Starks gets involved, sneak attacks Darby. Boom. Lights go out.
Do you know who it was, Eric?
Who was it, Brian?
I think it was... It was Sting!
Thanks, Schiavone. Sting comes out, and guess what? Sting. All right. No shade right now. Sting came out and he mixed it up, Brian. The past 3 weeks in a row, he came out and just stood there like a fucking idiot.
Wait, who
didn't
came
do a
out and
damn
stood?
thing.
Who came out and stood there like an idiot? Oh yeah, right. Okay, sorry.
Right. Thanks again, Schiavone. So Sting comes out, shakes it up a little bit, actually uses the baseball bat this week. Gives old Ricky Starks a couple thumps. Starks sells the shit out of it, and Ricky Starks goes down like a pile of bricks.
Now, what I liked about this when Sting came out, what I liked about it is that the lights went out and we didn't get a 45 minutes long drawn slow walk intro. The lights went out, the lights came up, and he was at the ring. Whop whop, he hit Ricky Starks with the bat, and the spot was over. I like that.
Yep.
I did enjoy that. So if we're gonna have nonsense, cool. Have nonsense.
Yeah, especially if we're using. Thanks again, Schiavo. But anyway, Darby Allin, this entire match Brian Cage, again, just to recap, put him through a table, power bombed him 98 times, power bombed him on the ramp, fucking suplexed him, murdered him, disassembled him, put him back together, ripped his head off, shoved it up his ass and shit it out. Darby Allin ended up getting about 3 offensive moves total in this entire match and still manages to pin Brian Cage. And that, I don't know, Brian, to reach into my memory bank here, that reminds me a lot of that one time Tessa Blanchard beat Brian Cage clean on Impact. It was pretty similar.
Folks, if you didn't see that one coming, that was a rough one. For one, I named this show Who Can't Beat Brian Cage. For two, Brian Cage was in the main event of this. And for three, Brian Cage lost. So if you didn't see the Tessa Blanchard shade being thrown at Brian Cage, then you've never listened to our show before. So that was going to happen. You know who was the referee in this stupid match, Eric? Do you know who the referee was? It was our buddy.
Turner's a moron.
Right, Turner is a moron. He was out there, and he was the referee. They were outside of the ring for this match for ungodly amounts of time. He just kept yelling, "Get back in the ring," and then would shake his head no. Get back in the ring. I don't know. Get back in the ring. And then finally he started counting. Like, I get it if you're going to pull that old gimmick card of like Michael from Elite News 1 over there on Instagram was saying where they're going to do like, we're going to let the boys fight, and they're going to give them the old red shoes treatment and then start the count. They didn't even just Paul Turner stood around like an idiot because, well,
Turner's a moron.
Right, exactly, Jericho. Turner's a moron.
Yeah, couldn't agree more on that. So that was our AEW show for the week, and I still managed to shit on it, but still one of the best shows AEW's put on. If you take it at face value, it was a great show. If you look at it for what kind of booking's going to happen in the future, or the stupid monkey wrenches that got thrown into good spots here where good things could have happened, it was a little shaky. But I thoroughly enjoyed watching this show on Wednesday night.
I actually liked it too. I'm having fun tonight, kind of dumping on it because it makes it fun for me to dump on because there's a lot of stuff. There was so much continuity issues going on with things that they should have been talking about that they didn't talk about and things that they should keep going. Storylines they're pulling out of the past that don't make sense and storylines that they should let go into the future or they're ending. But I enjoyed it. I had fun in watching it, and I kept watching it. I didn't get really super mad at any point. I just kept going, come on, you guys. Don't do that stuff. Quit having Paul Turner out there.
Turner's a moron.
I know. And then at least they had a good a good Sting spot.
Yeah. So it worked for me. And I know our show's running a little long here. I did happen to catch NXT, and just a couple notes I want to run down here, if you don't mind. Just give a little recap.
Go for it.
All right. So NXT on January 13th here was the beginning of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Cup Tournament. And So yeah, this is where 16 tag teams. A lot of them are just
Strange
mixed
bedfellows.
match. Yeah, bad bedfellow, fucking whatever the hell. But anyway, we start the match with Shotzi Blackheart and her tank versus Candice LeRae. Fast forward to that one, Candice LeRae wins. Finn
Tank.
Balor cut a promo, and they stopped manufacturing the cloth that I'm cut from, Brian.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a pretty tough line from Finn Balor there. Let's see, we got some Kyle O'Reilly, some Horny Lorkins.
Horny Lorkin.
So the very first match in this tag team tournament is the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Everrise. Yeah, it's about a wrap on that. Grizzled Young Veterans get the win. Raquel Gonzalez says she's the new baddest bitch in NXT. So that was one thing I wanted to touch on. Raquel Gonzalez basically taking the reins. She's the bad big bitch over in NXT now. And that leads me to believe, along with the speculation that we've been hearing, I'm pretty sure Rhea Ripley's getting moved up to the main roster here pretty soon.
Hello. Who's there? Main roster. Oh, what are you going to do with me? I'm going to put you on Saturday Night Shotgun and never have you wrestle on TV.
So, R.I.P. Rhea Ripley. You're getting moved up to the main roster.
You were so good, Rhea. We had so much faith in you.
With a stupid mask on your face.
Get a coffee filter and some scissors, kid. We're not giving you any budget for this shit.
We'll call you fucking shit straw. I don't know. So you get a shitty match between Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis is basically ripping off Randy Orton at this point, slithering around the ring. Where when Randy Orton slithers, it's cool, it's sneaky. When Dexter Lumis slithers, it's like he's just doing snake cosplay.
Well, at least they give like Randy Orton the Viper gimmick, right? They call him the Viper, so he's coiled and ready to attack. Like Dexter Lumis is a serial killer last week.
Yeah, and now he's just slithering around the ring like he's on the Jungle Book. But let's see here. We get some bad acting between Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. Whew, that was rough. Go back and look at that one, guys, if you get a chance. They were clearly reading a script.
Just had these guys wrestle.
Oh, it was rough. Bear with me, Brian. I'm trying to get to the important notes here. All right. Another match in our Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament is Jake Atlas and Isaiah Swerve Scott versus the brand new tag team in NXT. It's the debut of MSK. Now, if you're not familiar with MSK, MSK is Wes Lee and Nash Carter, also known as the Rascals from Impact Wrestling. Now, as great as that name is, as much as it makes me think of 80-year-old ladies rolling around on a bright red scooter, the Rascals, a.k.a. MSK, made their debut against Jake Atlas and Swerve Scott. And these guys are the shit. They are the real deal. NXT has a reputation of being boring, and these guys are they're like a private party, but more polished. They're like a Young Bucks, but with more ring awareness and fundamentals. So I like these MSK guys. They're young, they're really good, and they got a lot of room to grow. The Wes Lee guy, that he's super smooth. And so I just wanted to put that out there. Keep an eye on MSK. I'm surprised AEW didn't snatch them up once they became free agents or whatever with Impact. And
they probably made the better choice.
I'm sure they're getting more money.
Well, not even the money, just the long-term character development they're going to come out with, where they're actually going to have guys like Triple H watching your matches, and you're going to have guys like Shawn Michaels backstage going, I don't know what you're doing, kid. Don't do that again. Talking and telling you what to do instead of everybody just going, that was amazing.
So, yeah. I just want to say keep an eye out for MSK and the announcer over in NXT that sounds just like Michael Cole. At one point, just couldn't leave well enough alone. Before the break, shouts, "These rascals are high flying. They're exciting."
Oh boy.
So he
Spilled the beans.
spilled the beans, used a trademark term, but used it in a way where they can't get in trouble because they're not the
Well-
rascals. They're just some rascals who came over
Well,
and
you're also talking shit to a company that doesn't have any money, so you're gonna tease like TNA gonna sue you or Impact gonna sue you. Like
touche, Brian.
they're like we're done. Go ahead, who cares? Tease them.
And finally, next week starts the women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament. And it's going to be a no for me, dog.
That's good.
I'm not watching anything having to do with this tournament. You're not gonna give me 16 women tag teams, most of them being fucking good bedfellow matches. And
How about you call it good bedfellow instead of strange bedfellow?
I'm not watching some fucking makeshift women tag team matches. This is the worst booking idea I've seen.
Well,
in a
first
hot
off,
minute.
let's just rewind back that you just Randy Jacksoned us and said that's going to be a no for me, dog. In this aspect.
In 2021.
It's going to be a no for me, dog. Anyways, yeah, man, I don't know. This tag team champion cup thing doesn't really excite me too much anyways, even for the men. So I don't know about
No.
these some weird women's matchups or how they're going to hang out, but we shall see. We shall see.
First off, starting this thing off with 16 teams. I don't know if they're doing the same amount of teams for women. I don't even know if there's 32 women in NXT. But 16 teams for the men's is just way too long, way too drawn out for something that doesn't really mean
Matter.
anything. And the long short of it, these trophies that they give away, you hear about them for a week, and then it's just who gives a fuck.
The boys don't want to carry him around. I mean, not that they're on the road right now anyways, but they're not going to carry around a cup like this big trophy cup from the Dusty Rhodes Classic. They're like, you get awarded with it, you stand next to it, you take a picture, and then they move on. It's not championships, they're not the straps, so it's, I don't know, is what it's worth. If they win it, they should get a shot at the tag team. There's no stipulation at the end. It's just like, hey, we won the cup. Cool. That and 50 cents will get you a cup of coffee, man. I'll tell you.
Right. Precisely. So they're making a big deal out of they're making a huge deal out of something that's not a big deal. So whatever, I get it. Props to Dusty, pay a little tribute to him. But yeah, this stinks.
Stinks on ice. Guys, make sure you head over and check out Clark Street Wrestling Podcast. They were in our chat hanging out and watching us for a little bit tonight. They still may be in there. I'm not positive. They dropped a comment, said, "What up, fellas?" It gave us a thumbs up. So make sure you guys get over to see the Clark Street Wrestling guys on Instagram and check out their podcast as well. Podcast plugging podcast, man. That's how we grow together. So, Eric, do we have anything else about professional wrestling before we wrap this night up?
No, that's about it on professional wrestling tonight. Any more plugs from you?
Always got plugs, man. Go over to all the social media platforms and look for the KayFabe Smark. That's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's TikTok. Make sure you head on over to audibletrial.com/thekayfabesmark. Get a free audiobook, free 30-day trial, and also get over on the YouTube, like and subscribe, and help us grow over there. We're posting full shows. We're posting little clips. We're posting longer clips. We're just trying to be engaged and keep this thing rolling. So like and subscribe and share on YouTube, the KayFabe Smark. And, man, I think that's it, Eric.
Yeah, that's about it. Good luck with your corona test there, Brian. And other than that, all I got to say is hooty hoo, we out the gates.